want to get onto is the characters that we know are in GTA 6, and also towards the end of the video speculate what their involvement could be, and also how the story could play out. In today's video, we're going to take a look at Jason Duval and explore what his role in the story of Grand Theft Auto 6 might be, what his relationship might be like with Lucia. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. So the first official statement we have from Rockstargames about Jason Duval is that Jason wants an easy life, but things just keep getting harder. Now, reading between the lines throughout the story, we're probably going to get references to Jason's early life and things that maybe have happened to push him into a scenario that maybe he doesn't want to be in. Every single Rockstar Games kind of really follows the strategy of a rags to riches story, and in this instance, I don't feel it's going to be much different. Towards the start of the story, we're very much going to learn about Jason's struggles and why he's doing the things he's doing in Vice City to evolve and grow the story, and probably his bank account too. Jason grew up around grifters and I didn't know he grew up with Andy Pants. That's pretty cool. Jason grew up around grifters and crooks, and after a stint in the army trying to shake off his troubled teens, he found himself in the Keys doing what he knows best, working for local drug runners. It might be time to try something new. Now, the whole military side of Jason is something that's been speculated all over Reddit ever since just before the first trailer and everything we saw from the leaks. But the first trailer and the official artwork for GTA 6 really drove this home, with people referencing Jason's stance, his haircut, and his general kind of demeanor that we understood from the first trailer. He looks very much like a military man. Now, in the second trailer, of course, we had reference to him doing local work for drug runners, and of course, this is where his relationship with Brian blossoms or stems from, and we'll of course cover Brian in a future video.
This is why I say it's the beginning of the game where we're working for Brian, doing all this drug running for him, you know, doing his dirty work basically for him. And apparently Jason gets tired of it. He's like, damn, I'm gonna do something else. Like, who wants this life? Just like people that works 9 to 5, like, who wants to work a 9 to 5 for the rest of their life? Ooh, some people do, some people don't. And that's where Jason was like, damn, I don't want to do this. Like, yes, it's easy money, but it ain't enough. Like, I want to be free. I want to do what I want. I'm tired of working, like, you know. And they do a score, and it goes bad, and that puts some heat on him and Lucia. And that's where the story goes off with Grand Theft Auto. You know how it is. Freaking Michael messed up Mara Majazzo's house, and that's how it all started.
Now, this sentiment at the very end that it might be time to try something new really kind of throws us off the scent of who Jason is and what he might be doing in the story. Now, a good example of this is in the second trailer, we can see that he is drug running. He is doing various things. And the only kind of sniff that we get that he might be doing other stuff is the scenes like the bank robbery. Now, drug running and bank robbery, both illegal, but both very different crimes. So it does look like that maybe he's going to move away from working with Brian and move probably more into armed robbery. And this particular screenshot here kind of speaks more to that effect, that rather than being a drug runner, he's now robbing local stores. Now, in my opinion, I would have assumed that this would be a downgrade from what he's doing running drugs. Surely this would make less money, especially where it looks like he's robbing a convenience store, a 7-Eleven sort of store. It kind of creates more blanks, more question marks around that story narrative that I didn't really think about prior to making this video, but whilst making it, I'm now thinking it. And of course, we have that statement on screen, if anything happens, I'm right behind you. This implies that maybe he's in the store with Lucia, or something that he said to Lucia, in the sense that if you end up in jail, I'm right there with you, I'll support you. And obviously that's a theme that will come up in the Lucia video.
Yeah.
Power, speed, performance.
Now, before we continue, I just want to say a brief thank you to today's video sponsor, War Thunder. War Thunder is a game that I've been playing now for around 2 years, and it's one of the most comprehensive vehicle combat games ever made. And you can now play it completely for free on consoles, mobile devices, and of course on PC. You can take command of over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships of 10 major nations, ranging from awesome biplanes and armoured cars of the 1920s to even the fighter jets and main battle tanks of today. Immerse yourself in the intense combat of War Thunder, where realistic graphics, detailed vehicles, and authentic sound effects place you right at the helm of the most powerful war machines of our time. One of my favourite things about War Thunder is that the vehicle damage is extremely realistic. There isn't just simple vehicle explosions. Every vehicle and every panel has different hit locations that cause different damage to the vehicles, so you can really bring in your own strategy when it comes to blowing up the enemy. So play Play War Thunder for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox or mobile devices now by using my links in the pinned comment. Also, new and returning players on PC all platforms. That includes multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive vehicle decorator Eagle of Valor, 100,000 Silver Lions, and 7 days of a premium account. And this is available for a limited time only, so be quick. Right, now back to the video. So the next thing that comes up is this quote here: "Another day in paradise," right? Obviously, this is in reference to the fact that Vice City kind of looks like a bit of a metropolis, especially around the Keys area, and clearly something is happening alternatively within the story or within the city or within the town that kind of tells a dark underworld of what's happening. In fact, this shot is a really good sort of kind of personification of that, in the sense that you've got this kind of metropolis behind him, and obviously he's looking off into the distance with machine gun. We then have this quote here, which is, "Meeting Lucia could be the best or worst thing to ever happen to him. Jason knows how he'd like it to turn out, but right now it's hard to tell." Now, I recently did a podcast with a good friend of mine, Project Vice, and something that we spoke about is the fact that this story could have some twists and turns in it, and the antagonist or the enemy in the game could be a mixture of things. It could be an actual physical gang or person or organization, or it could be the actual relationship with Lucia that plays into this whole dark side of the story. This whole idea that meeting Lucia could be the best or worst thing to ever happen to him really plays into that thing of trust that we saw in the first trailer. Trust is something that the whole story hangs around, and clearly this intimates that there's a lack of trust between Jason and Lucia, and potentially Lucia could betray him at some point in the story. Now, if you want me to do a whole video about that, because I do have some crazy theories on that, but if you want me to do a whole video, make sure you let me know down in the comments below. Then we get to this panning shot, and as you scroll, you can see the shot pans round, and we can see from here that Lucia has this kind of thinking look on her face. Her mind is
I'm telling you, like, bro, it's scary, because, like, like every protagonist I play with, but I feel like I'm not gonna mess with Lucia, bro. I feel like it's gonna be like some wishy-washy stuff, bro. Like at the end, they're gonna betray each other, bro. Like I seen a fan-made thing where they were pointing the gun at each other at the end. I feel like that could happen. Like we're gonna do good, and towards the end, it's gonna be pick Jason or Lucia. I have to go with my dog Jason, but we're gonna see. Well, it depends who. If Jason's the flawed one, I'm gonna go with Lucia, because whoever's right. But we're just gonna have to wait to see till the game drops in 2027.
In this embrace, she's looking off into the distance over here, and behind Jason's back, she's holding a gun. This kind of seems like a hug out of trust and necessity, rather than a hug because she actually loves him. Exactly. I think that betrayal is definitely going to be a big part of this story, and we'll talk about Lucia in a separate video. But the gun behind the back is symbolism. I know that we're doing that whole meme of the curtains are blue, but this is definitely some sort of symbolism. That look on Lucia's face is not a trusting look. That is a look of something else is going on upstairs and she doesn't really want to talk about it. Now, if we go back to Jason here, the look on his face is somewhat defensive, in the sense that we're not getting any clear indications from Jason of what he's thinking. There is a general look of concern of something that's happening around him, and we can't really make out what that general look is or what Jason could be thinking of. I'm really keen to hear what you guys think about this down below, but it does look like what we're seeing in the shot of them hugging each other is at complete polar opposites to the impression that we're getting from their faces. Now, going into the screenshots of Jason, there's a few of the things that we can talk about. Now, these are mainly specific to his build, some of his backstory, his character, but I still think that they're very relevant to the video. So the first thing I want to point out is the tattoos. This here is definitely a military tattoo. Now, this is something that was pointed out the second people started seeing the trailer. That shot of Jason in the car where you can see his arm, very clear that this is a, what was that, a B company maybe? These are definitely military tattoos. Now, it also goes without saying that his physique speaks to the same volume. He's clearly a very fit, well-trained man, and he does have that military stature. It's also been pointed out that the way he holds his gun is very similar to the way that the police and military are trained. So have your finger away from the trigger, up the side of the firearm so you don't accidentally let off a round. Apparently that's a standard resting position that's trained in the military. Now moving on to this screenshot here, this one's actually really interesting as well. Obviously we can see that Jason's thinking about something, he's deep in thought, he's looking in his rearview mirror of something that's happened behind him. Once again, I hate to be the curtains is blue meme, but it's very clear that Jason's looking behind him, looking to his past, reflecting on something. I think this is very telling of the fact that Jason has a backstory. Jason has a deep, meaningful backstory, and we're going to probably see references to that throughout the story. As it mentioned obviously earlier, that he definitely has a troubled or interesting past, to say the least.
Yeah,
now in this shot here,
this is what I'm getting off of Jason. What I'm getting is bad childhood vibe, can't let something go in the past, and he just brings that with him. But I still don't trust Lucia. Like, Lucia's gonna be a cool protagonist. We're gonna like her. We're gonna like Jason. You never know who's gonna sneak out who in the end, because that's how it always ends. Franklin and Michael, you know, the Dutch and Micah and Arthur, and you know, Jason, Lucia, and you know, probably Cal. But we'll see. We'll see.
we have the opportunity to see some of the high life side of it. So for example, Jason's out on a boat, and something that I really actually want to point out here is this appears like it's from an actual in-game screenshot, like from gameplay. The other screenshots could be positioned, but this one, the way the skin looks very slightly softer compared to the other screenshots, makes me think that this one's actually a gameplay screenshot, something done with Rockstar Editor, for example. Now, this is the first actual reference that we see to Jason having somewhat of a normal social outlook in Vice City, so I'm assuming that this screenshot is from some point later in the game, where Jason's actually just taking part in something that's hobbyist rather than something that's involved around the story, and this lends into some of the activities that we'll be able to do in the game.
This game, you're not ready for.
Now, of course, we can talk about detail, skin textures, all of that. I will be doing a full video about some of the character model stuff that Rockstar are using for Grand Theft Auto 6, but for the case of this video, that's not really relevant to Jason as a character. Something else that we can see in this shot is obviously another character, Cal, and we'll do a full video on him, but this looks like one of those GTA 4 moments where you can go bowling with Roman.
Exactly.
It's very clear that they're out doing an event together. However, I do want to say that Cal is using his binoculars to look off into the distance, so maybe this mission could have a dark side to it where they're actually just scouting out a location or an event. And maybe the fishing is the excuse to be out on the water there to not draw attention. This is usually how Rockstar sets up their new activities. They'll show you a new thing, for example, fishing, and they'll use this mission as an opportunity to teach you how to fish in the game. Now, this screenshot here is also very similar to what we spoke about before. This is in the same location as he was with Lucia before they have that embrace, before she has that uneasy look. And once again, Jason has that concerned, uneasy look, looking directly into camera. Clearly something isn't right about this scene, and I've spoke to a few people about this and they've all said the same thing. These shots of Jason in this almost vibrant, beautiful backdrop and setting have this really uneasy feeling about them. It's like Jason's thinking about something, Lucia's thinking about something, and there's some ulterior motive that maybe we aren't aware of yet. I don't think I'm just reading into it. The seriousness of Jason's face in some of these shots in the setting, it's like a complete opposite of what's actually happening here. We've got this vibrant, beautiful nightlife, we've got a couple out for a walk, and we've got Jason looking very concerned about something. Maybe he's waiting for Lucia to turn up. It kind of looks like maybe he's hiding behind a tree. Not hiding, but leaning against the tree. Maybe something's happening in the background here and he's waiting. I don't know. You guys let me know. Now, going back to this shot that I briefly mentioned before. Now, it's really hard to tell where this shot is. It looks like it's in the balcony of a hotel of some sort. I've tried to kind of triangulate the shot from the various shots in the trailer and the other screenshots. I can't quite figure out where it is. I think I roughly know. And side note, look at the detail on these guns. That's incredible. The gun say Duke on it. I think it says Duke. Here we have obviously Jason overlooking a scenario. He's clearly looking at something that's happening in the distance, whether that's a drug deal or he's robbing somewhere. Once again, this brings back that kind of like duality of the scenario where we've got this beautiful city in the background, the nightlife looks amazing, and we've got the dark side. And Rockstar has really utilized lighting in these shots. We've got the orange and teal colors, we have the orange in the skin, we have the teal from the light on the gun. And this doesn't tell us too much about Jason. However, it does definitely drill home the military man. I think that's a G-Shock or Garmin watch, very rugged military watch. watch. But yeah, other than that, there's not too much to talk about in this particular shot. Now, this shot here is actually really cool because it kind of shows like a dive bar scenario. I actually think this is probably from something that happens in the game, like from a mission or a cutscene or something, where we can see that clearly Jason has done something to rile up these guys in the background.
The way he's holding the bottle, he's gonna fling the bottle at that dude, knock him out. The other dude's gonna get a hold of him. Cal's gonna get the other bottle, smash it on the other dude's head, and we run out. Or we just start a big bar fight like in Red Dead 2. We get some goofy music probably, but I doubt it.
And you got Cal kind of putting his hand on Jason's arm saying, yo, it's time to go, sort of thing. And of course we have the money clip and we have the time on the watch. So this is nearly at 10 p.m. It's at 9:56 p.m. Now, something else worth pointing out in this particular shot, Jason would appear like he smokes. This is a cigarette that's still kind of like probably just been recently put out, and Jason sat right next to it. Cal obviously hasn't been near it, so maybe Jason is a smoker. Once again, we're clutching at straws here, but I don't think it's impossible that would be in the game. It's something that Rockstar have played on before, so maybe Jason is a smoker, or maybe he has other vices we're not aware of. He likes a beer and a smoke, good lad. But other than that, there's not too much we can tell from this. The one thing I do want to say though, it looks like his beard color is different in this shot, and we've seen that throughout many of the different shots. It would appear like the color of his beard slightly shifts. Now that could be down to lighting, but we can see different beard lengths. In fact, in this shot here, it looks significantly shorter. So whether that's because we can style the beard or whether that's because naturally it grows over time, I think they'll probably have a similar system to Red Dead Redemption 2 in that instance where beards will grow. And that is about it. Yeah. We don't know too much else about Jason. I'm really keen to hear what you guys think about it.
Everything on the screenshot. Can't go off for everything on the screenshot. But like, comment, subscribe. We're up next. Let's get it.